previously we talked about the hoteling model where we had a straight line and two firms located on that line. Now this model is going to modify that and build upon it, and we're going to look at a circle model. So we're going to look at having a multiple number of firms that are located not on a straight line but on a circle. So in this example, let's look at an example that would have just three firms. So firm 1 is going to locate at this part of the circle. Firm 2 is going to be equidistant, and firm 3. So that's the difference. And what we want to be able to look at is how are these firms going to price their goods with the information we have, specifically that individuals have to pay a travel cost to be able to purchase the good. So our total cost is equal to a fixed cost plus a marginal cost times quantity, so our variable cost. And then for each consumer, in order to purchase the good, they have to pay the price of the good plus a cost for distance traveled times the distance that they have to travel. So that's the cost to purchase. And so similar to the hoteling model, we want to find the indifferent point. So we want to look at this point right here such that this consumer is indifferent of going to firm 1 to buy the good or going to firm 2 to buy the good. So we can define this distance as x. And if the circumference of the circle is normalized to be 1, then this distance here is going to be 1 minus n minus x. Meaning that if there's three firms, and we're going to look at a third of the distance, because they're all equidistant, minus x. So this is going to be how we define our indifference point. So the price charged by firm 1 plus the cost to travel to firm 1 is going to equal P star, which is the price paid at another firm, because they can charge a different price theoretically, plus T, the cost to travel, minus 1 over n minus x, which is the distance they have to travel. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and solve for P. Or I'm sorry, not for P, but for x. So I have an x on this side and this side, so let's factor through. So I get Tx plus Tx, that's from this right there, equals P star minus P plus T over N. So I get 2Tx, so x is going to equal P star minus P over 2T plus T over 2Tn. Those T's will cancel, so x is going to be P star minus P over 2T plus 1 over 2n. So that's the x, that's the quantity that, in a sense, firm 1 will sell from this part of the circle right here. But that's this indifference point between firm 1 and firm 2. So there's also this indifference point between firm 1 and firm 3, where we define this distance also as x. So when we think of what's the demand for firm 1, so the demand for firm 1 is equal to x plus x, because they're getting both the x from the indifference point between firms 1 and 2 and the indifference point from firms 1 and 3. So in this case, the quantity demanded from good 1 is equal to 2x, which is P star minus P over T plus 1 over N. Now that we have that, and this is going to be Q1 actually in this case, so we're going to say profits for firm 1 is equal to P times Q1 minus the cost, which is F plus C Q1. We write it out this way so that we can collect like terms. So this is equal to P minus C times Q1 minus F. This is the trick that we did before, where we kind of rewrite the profit function. And now I can plug in for Q1 what I have. So this is P minus C times Q1, which is P star minus P over T plus 1 over n. So now that I have this function, I'm going to take the partial derivative. Sorry, and I should subtract. So we have this minus f. Sorry, we have to take off our fixed cost. Now that I have that, I take the partial derivative with respect to p, and this is going to be the derivative of the first times the second. So the derivative of the first is 1, so p star minus p over t plus 1 over n, plus the first, p minus c, times the derivative of the second, which is 1 times 1 over t, and we set that equal to 0. Now at this point we can say, well, if all the firms have the same cost function and the same cost to travel to each of the firms, then P star is equal to P, and we can go from there. One reason we do it this step is because this may not be an assumption we assume, and we would solve it out this way if that assumption were not true. So now that we get this term will cancel out, and we're left with 1 over n equals p minus c 1 over t. And then we solve that out to get p is equal to t over n plus c. Once again, we have our marginal cost plus our markup, a characteristic we get in monopolistic competition. So that's how we'd find p. We can then go back to what our q function is here, right? And because p star is equal to p, q1 is simply equal to 1 over n. That'll take about a third of the circle based on symmetric cost and travel time. So therefore I can do PQ, so profits for firm 1, all right, is PQ, so that's T over N squared plus C minus fixed costs minus C times Q, which is 1 over N. Therefore, profits, we can rewrite, are going to equal T over N squared minus F. So we look at this is as the cost to travel increase, profits will go up. That's because they have market power that can control the price. As the number of firms increases, profits will go down. As fixed cost increases, profits will also go down. So we can look at the dynamics of what the profits are. Now that we have that, we can actually think about what is the optimal number of firms in this model, which is monopolistic competition. So we know that profits are equal to T over N squared minus F. And we know that for monopolistic competition, in the long run, profits are equal to 0. So in this case, T over N squared would equal to F, because profits are 0, and I can solve for N. N is equal to the square root of T over F. So this is the optimal number of firms in this monopolistic competition according to the Siow circle model. What this tells us is as the cost to travel increases, prices would go up, profits would go up, which means the number of firms would go up. As fixed costs increase, that's going to reduce profits, and as a result, the number of firms would go down. So this tells us here the optimal amount of number of firms we have in the market. Now the question we want to think about is what's the socially optimal number of firms in the market? So we think about socially optimal. Well, we can think about trying to minimize total costs. So one thing we have is the social cost is equal to the marginal cost plus the number of firms times the fixed cost plus T over 4n. So we have the marginal cost plus the fixed cost times the number of firms, and this third term is the total travel cost. So the consumer at the midpoint between the two firms has to travel 1 over 2n from either firm, and on average, consumers will be half this distance from the nearest firm, so that's where we get 1 over 4n. So now we're going to take the partial derivative of social cost with respect to n. So this will get f minus t over 4n squared. We set this equal to 0 and solve for n. So the socially optimal amount of firms is equal to 1/2 square root of t over f, which if we look at that, that's going to be half the number of firms that are provided in a monopolistically competitive market. So this is the result that in monopolistic competition, there are more firms than is socially optimal. And that's because each firm that enters the market does so based on their private cost and benefit, but they're imposing an externality in that as they enter the market, it reduces the demand for other goods, and therefore with negative externalities, the market produces too much. So this is a way we can show for the optimal number of firms using the Siow circle model.